One of the big debates that often rages across the Miraculous fandom is the question of which ship is the best ship. Now obviously the most prominent ship is Adrien and Marinette, and all the different variations that people use. This is the ship that at this point is essentially canon. We've had it teased so many times in things like Oblivion and Cap Blanc that at this point, barring some kind of insane, stupid plot twist, it's only a matter of time. But despite this, there are some amongst the fandom that think the character of Luca is the better fit for Marinette, and obviously this radically different opinion causes the groups to butt heads from time to time. So I thought today I'd weigh in on things and try and give my perspective on which character makes the most sense as being Marinette's endgame love interest. Now, I'll just say I don't claim to be the world's leading expert on romantic subplots and how that impacts character development, but I'll do my best at breaking down some positives and some negatives of each ship whilst being as fair as I can. So we'll start with the more controversial pick, Luka. Now on the surface, Luka seems like a pretty cool character. He has that punkish bad boy look, he's a talented musician, and he lives on a houseboat. That's pretty cool. On top of that, he always treats Marinette really well, he looks out for her, he cares about her feelings, and most importantly, he only really has eyes for her. In my book, this sets him apart from Adrien in that he isn't obsessively in love with somebody who keeps telling them no. He actually focuses on Marinette the person, as opposed to Ladybug the hero. So on the surface, he seems like the perfect love interest, right? I can understand why people want them to be together. But I just can't help but think there's some problems with the character from both a story progression and character development standpoint. We'll start with character development. He doesn't have any. His whole role in the story is to be the nice guy that treats her well. He's honestly one of the most surface level characters that's been introduced so far. He's basically perfect in every way, and I can't remember flaws ever being a part of his character at all, and that's really not a good thing. Characters that are perfect paragons of virtue are really boring, and they take you out of the story because they feel so fake and forced. And on top of that, it's a lot harder for him to actually get any development. A lot of the storylines revolve around Marinette's class and being at school or on a school trip. He's not in their class, so he misses out on a lot of those opportunities for character growth. To make him as fleshed out as a character like Adrien, you'd have to essentially shoehorn him into every episode that doesn't take place in their class, but this in turn would severely overexpose the character, and I guarantee the majority of fans would turn on it so fast. And I guess this ties into the story progression aspect. It wouldn't really make any sense for him to end up as the primary love interest simply because it would derail the story that's been building across 3 seasons so far. The whole of season 1 and 2 and 3, we've seen Marinette and Adrien slowly grow closer together as both friends and potential love interests. In every romantic storyline, however, there's always the obstacle to overcome. For Adrien, it's his obsession with Ladybug and Kagami's open crush on him. Whilst for Marinette, it's the kind of mutual crush thing going on with Luca. It's not meant to be long-term or permanent, it's her romantic obstacle, her temptation to overcome. It would go against the heart of the story, at least for me, for her to end up with him. And that brings us to Adrien. Unlike Luka, he ticks the box big time on the character development and story progression indicators. Being one of the 2 main characters, it's pretty obvious that Adrian's going to have some of the deepest character development in the show. It allows you to really get behind him and really root for his character. And it lets you draw connections between Adrien and Marinette's character and struggles and link them together in ways that you can't achieve using a tertiary character like Luka. On top of that, the whole story points to Adrien and Marinette. If that was changed, it would look like years worth of stories being thrown in the bin for nothing and make it seem like a swerve for the sake of having a swerve. But that being said, I can understand the perspectives of those who don't really like the concept of a Marinette and Adrien romance. From what I understand, it largely stems from the fact that these two both seem to be unhealthily obsessed with one another. For Adrien, in his cat noir persona, he's very forward with Ladybug and constantly attempts to goad her into giving him affection or giving him a chance. And I kind of agree this is a bit problematic. I mean, Asterix loves to say this is a kids show, and yet you have a hero that refuses to take no for an answer. It's not really a great example for kids to follow. And Marinette isn't much better. She's really uncomfortably creepy and borderline stalkerish at times. There's so many times where it's awkward to watch a scene because of how she comes across, and that kind of stuff, at least for me, very much kills my interest in having any sort of romantic payoff. It just makes me want to walk away and contemplate the choices I've made that led me to this moment. So this leads me to the end. Who is the better fit? And I'm gonna have to say Adrien. I realise that their obsession or stalker behaviour is a bit much, but you can pretty much easily fix that with good writing in season 4. But to build up Luka to the level he needs to be a viable romantic interest, you'd have to dedicate most of season 4 to building him up. It would become Miraculous, the tales of Ladybug, Cat Noir, and Viperion. It would sacrifice all the story leading up to that point from seasons 1 to 3, and it just wouldn't make sense narratively. So for the show itself, Adrien and Marinette are the way to go. But if it was in real life, I'd say Luka would be a better boyfriend. But hey, that's just my opinion, and I'd like to hear yours. Who do you think Marinette should be with, and why? Let me know what you guys think.